Good morning, everyone. It is Monday. Friberto is under the bed. I think he's building his own sanctuary under there, so he might pop out at any time, but until he does, we'll leave him in there. Good morning, and thank you, Eris, for doing all the mod stuff and being awesome. Welcome, Judge Maddie and Georgia, or Georgina, sorry, Erin Olivia, and Wolfram and Shizzy and Zach. Thank you for being my grammar and spelling person because you know I don't do those. Welcome to Jude and everyone else. Good morning, Observation Station. Good morning. So, our first story is that a long lost silent film from the 1920s has resurfaced in Omaha. A long lost silent film from 1923 will be shown publicly for the first time in decades after being discovered in an auction. Gary Huggins of Kansas City said he went to an auction in Omaha last year to look for rare or antique films. There was a distributor there that had been in Omaha for decades that had gone out of business a while ago, and this auction house had some of their films, so I drove up just for that to see what was up there. Huggins told WOWTV. He paid $20 for a stack of film rolls because one had included pieces of what was an old cartoon that caught his eye. It was the best $20 I've ever invested for sure, Huggins said. He used his projector to go through the stack and see what he had purchased and was surprised to see Clara Bow, one of the biggest stars in the silent film era. David Stein, a Hollywood historian and Bo's official biographer, said the real Huggins purchased was The Pill Pounder, a comedy short that was thought to be long lost. Quote, when someone said to me, would you be interested in a print of The Pill Pounder? I assumed they were making fun of me because I thought I would be interested. Would I be interested? It would be a miracle, and it is a miracle, Stein said. He said the film star 17-year-old Beau and is one of her oldest works to have been rediscovered. Stein, who purchased the film from Huggins, said the film strips in the 1920s were made using nitrate, an unstable and combustible chemical. So I thought, we'll never find this film, Stein said. The film reel was in good condition and Stein paid to have it restored. It will be shown on the big screen for the first time in 101 years at San Francisco's Silent Film Festival in April. Quote, this is why I do what I do. Though I never dared to dream this would resurface, Stein wrote on social media, miracles do happen. That would be awesome. So, I mean, you'll have to go to San Francisco. Um, so, plan accordingly, but you can go see this if you want to. Uh, Absolutely Snake Island and or Trebuchet right into the sun, quote unquote Santa to face child grossness charges alone after co-defendant son self-deletes as authorities close in, police say. Good morning, distant. A Florida father and son were charged in child grossness materials case with James Santa Cox, 79, allegedly uploading abuse material online while Henry Cox, 54, made such material in their home at least in one public restroom. Nope, just nope. I do like the color of their house though, but nope to everything else. The elderly father is now facing the case alone. A spokesperson for the St. Cloud Police Department told Law and Crime that the son died of apparently self deletion. According to federal documents, the investigation started when the St. Cloud Police Department received a tip from the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children on November 15th, 2023. An unknown person had uploaded abusive material to Microsoft Bing Image. I mean, look, I am computer, not smartness, but I thought that these gross people had their own like dark underweb bit torrents for all this grossness. I mean, I don't tend to know what people do, but this is gross, so I'm glad they caught him. Cops said they tracked it down to Cox's home. On January 17th, 2024, a state judge approved a warrant for the premises and cops carried it out 2 days later. Why was it 2 days later? J. Cox and H. Cox were seen leaving the residence in separate cars and were subsequently stopped by patrol officers, federal documents said. The SCPD made contact with J. Cox and H. Cox in their separate cars outside the subject premises. J. Cox admitted to possessing the images uh, which triggered the cyber tip. J. Cox also admitted in a post Miranda interview to looking at child grossness on the internet and using Microsoft Bing Image to look for similar gross images. J. Cox was shown two images, which triggered the tip, and J. Cox acknowledged and and said that those images had been seen and used to search for other grossness online. Ew. Just ew. Just ew. And hello, JKD Buck. Uh, Forensic analysis was completed by the Osceola County Sheriff's Office on the computer Jay Cox stated he used to look for grossness. SCPD was provided with forensics results, which showed hundreds of gross stuff. They wrote. The results also showed 3 videos which were deleted from the computer but able to be recovered. Henry Cox denied having anything to know with or knowing about it, authorities said. Investigators claim, however, that the son did not simply know about the material, but he produced at least a number of it, directly abusing children. Look, I understand that the son self-deleted, but I think he's gonna have bigger problems in the afterlife. 'Cause, I don't even think Satan's on board with this one. In some videos, the face and or voice of H. Cox is captured as the person recording the video, authorities wrote. Homeland Security took 15 electronic storage devices that investigators believe belonged to Henry Cox. As of the filing of the affidavit on March 1st, they also found more than 50 photos or videos of abuse material, they wrote. Some were made in Henry Cox's bedroom, while others include evidence showing that he made them. Just grossness. I hope that they both just go to Snake Island. I'm kinda and what the heck am I being exposed to? And I do mean that I never wanna see John Cena naked. John Cena gives out costume design Oscar in his quote unquote birthday suit. No. No, no. Veilhammer already sent me a picture of roided out Carrot Top. I need none of this. Allegedly roided out Carrot Top. Don't come at me, Carrot Top. I don't know if you're natural. John Cena literally bared it all at the Oscars on Sunday. Probably didn't still help their ratings. Uh, the actor appeared on stage during telecast to present the award for Best Costume Design, hilariously appearing to wear nothing at all. Look, they had to use a really small sock because, the roids do shrinkage stuff. The show's host, Jimmy Kimmel, tried to be funny, but, that's not his bit. Set up the bit by sharing a little bit of Oscar's histories, nodding to the 1974 Academy Awards when a streaker ran across the stage. Kim- Kimmel jokingly said, "Can you imagine if a nude man ran across the stage today? Wouldn't it be crazy?" From the corner of the stage, Cena peeked his head out and told Kimmel he didn't want to do the streaker bit anymore. It's an elegant event, and honestly, you should feel ashamed right now for suggesting such a tasteless idea, Cena complained. The male body is not a joke. Oh God, these two are not funny. Kimmel argued that Cena, who is a famed WWE wrestler, wrestles in the nude. Dude, I don't wrestle naked, Cena said, right? Or said, I wrestle in jorts. Jorts are worse than naked, Kimmel said as the audience laughed when the big sign that says laugh, because they were confused if it was a joke or not. At this point, Cena, carrying an oversized That's not as oversized as it should be, sir. If it were going to be a joke, I would make it big. I'd make it huge to imply that my schmeckle was huge. Guys, it's like the jokes write themselves. You could have and then I would have added, a blacked out bit that goes out longer just to make it look like, uh, my schmeckle was huge, but these 2 have no funniness in them, so at this point, Cena carrying a regular, you know, printer-sized paper winner's envelope over his bits, walked to the center of the stage as the audience's jaws dropped to the floor. Costumes, they are so important, probably the most maybe the most important thing there is, he said while presenting the award. With an assist from Kimmel, who later wrapped Cena in a curtain, leaving him much less exposed, they announced Holly Waddington as the best costume design winner for Poor Things. While Cena appeared to have been naked on stage, a source with knowledge tells CNN that he was covered in the groin and butt crack area. And the envelope was velcroed to him. The reason for the safety measure around Cena's bits, the show had to make sure there were no FCC violations, CNN understands. Uh, Maybe Oscar-winning Waddington can whip up something for Cena to wear to the after party. Again, this is not as funny as it could have been because these 2 have no funniness in them, but they won't ask me for help. No, I distant when I heard that it was a female fetus who I'm just saying if I had been John Cena, I would have come up with a huge poster and then a long black bit that's dangling down from it like it had to be censored so that it looked like my schmeckle was huge. If I was gonna do the joke, I'd be all in on it. I mean, I'd come out in those big giant checks, that they give for the lottery. It it's just not funny. These 2 are terrible. But yes, you did hear me, admit that if I were John Cena and I had done this bit, I would have made it funnier and better. And no, I'm not watching Poor Things because it's like this female baby that turns into a Smex addict. No. And what's her face has really bad eyebrows and it would just bother the hell out of me. Drew Carey says he can finally move on after ex-fiancée Amy Harwick's murder sentenced to life in prison. Drew Carey found the closure he needed to, quote, finally move on from the 2020 murder of his ex-fiancée, Amy Harwick. Speaking to people in an interview published on Wednesday, the television host said Gareth Pursehouse's, or as I like to call him, prison pocket, murder conviction and subsequent life in prison late last year brought him peace. I can barely remember the guy's name. That's how much I've put him out of my life. But ever since the final sentencing, it feels like we've all let out a breath and we're finally able to move on, he explained. The whole process is over now. There's nothing else to be done and nothing else to worry about. Just speaking for myself, it has been quite a load off. In February 2020, Harwick was found unresponsive in her Hollywood Hills home before she died in the hospital due to blunt force injuries to her head. She was 38. 3 years later, in September 2023, Pursehouse, who was her ex boyfriend, was found guilty of the first degree unaliving and strangling and throwing her over the third floor balcony of her house. He had stalked her all night before attacking her inside the home. At that time, she had already obtained 2 restraining orders against him. Pursehouse was 45 and sentenced to life in prison last December. "She's with me always," Carrie, who is 65, told People. "A lot of the times, I'll feel like I'll be thinking through things, and it's almost like I can hear her voice saying, 'Well, really, it's because of this and that,' and it's nice actually, or honestly." Carrie and the family therapist met in 2017 before getting engaged that a year later. However, they called it quits before making it down the aisle in 2018. Shortly after her death, the comedian claimed that he and Harwick were still head over heels in love with each other. She was beautiful and fun and cared deeply about people and improving their lives, and it was a joy to be around, and I was so in love with her, he recalled on his Sirius XM radio show. Thanks for putting in guardrails for me. I need a watch person with that because who knows, I would do something brash. Even after we broke up, we still loved each other very much. Even though we broke up the engagement, I was still so in love with her and she loved me back. He also said Purse House had been stalking her for 10 years and she was deathly afraid of him. Following her death, Carrie called Harwick, quote, a positive force in the world and a tireless, unapologetic champion for women. So I'm glad that he got a little bit of comfort. I know he went on a crazy, unhinged rant about, an entire swath of people and how they vote. But I am glad he got closure for this. So, you know, I'm I feel better for him. I wish he wouldn't go on crazy unhinged rants, but everyone has the right to do that. It is America. A murder conviction was just overturned because jurors were shown a rap music video that was more prejudicial than probative, and Young Thug's lawyer noticed. In the crazy saga that is what in the hell is this RICO case and why, we have this. Just one day after the Georgia Supreme Court overturned a murder conviction because jurors were shown a 33-second rap music video that was more prejudicial than probative, Young Thug's lawyer called the RICO judge or trial judge's attention to the decision as a guidepost for the ruling on the defense motion to strike rap music videos and lyrics from the evidence. Brian Steele, the only attorney that seems to be awake sometimes. The attorney for rapper born Jeffrey Williams on Wednesday supplied a few pages of context and attached the entire decision in Baker versus State to inform Fulton County Superior Court Judge Uriel Glanville on the use of, quote, rap videos, music lyrics, and the like during the trial. Quote, this honorable court conditionally admitted evidence of rap videos, lyrics, and the like in the trial of this case. If the prosecution laid proper foundation for the same, the defense began before pointing to Baker versus State and its wonderful analysis of OCGA subsection 24-4-43, or I'm sorry, 403, the section dealing with the exclusion of relative evidence that is more prejudicial than probative. Quote, Mr. Williams argued that the admission of these items without foundation, that these specific lyrics, videos, and other words are other artistic expression violates constitutional and statutory provisions. As Long Crime reported Tuesday, the Peach State's top court decided that Morgan Cardelli Baker's conviction in 2019 of shooting a nightclub security guard, Tamaraco Head, should be overturned because the prosecution insisted on showing jurors a portion of Crawford's, aka No Cap's, rap video for quote unquote ghetto angels, a video that showed Morgan waving around a force multiplier. The problem that 7-2 majority found was that the state failed to meet its burden of showing that the inclusion of the video of evidence, was a harmless one, as the high court couldn't say the video didn't sway the jury. Rather, the trial court's allowance of the video into the evidence was an abuse of discretion. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I turned it down for Legal Shenanigans Theater. Thank you so much. Thanks. Let's see. At Baker's trial, prosecutors leaned into the rap video to assert that Baker, a close friend and road manager to No Cap, was, quote, promoting force multiplier violence and surrounded by an entourage with force multipliers. Notably, Baker said his participation in the video was him just trying to be cool, and he claimed not to know many specifics about the force multiplier in his hand. In response to the prosecutor's question about the video, Baker testified that he did not produce the video and that it was about, quote, losing loved ones. And he thought he had a Glock force multiplier in the video. He did not know what kind of Glock it was. It was not his force multiplier. And he used it in the video because he was trying to look cool, the decision recounted. Young Thug's defense argued Wednesday that the prosecution's lack of knowledge on a host of detail about the rap's lyrics in question only shows that the state is employing a quote attack on character propensity and to make a mockery of art in search of a conviction. Without the prosecution knowing who wrote the lyrics at issue when the lyrics were written and when the lyrics were produced, who potentially changed any lyrics, and what the intention of the lyrics were, what the mindset of the person speaking the lyrics who authorized, promoted, and orchestrated the music videos, whether the force multipliers were real or not, whether the music videos were done for promotional purposes or the like, Mr. Williams again asks this honorable court to exclude any and all of the state's requested evidence pursuant to the constitutional provisions previously argued, as well as this new decision. So noting Judge Gainville has already indicated there would be a hearing on the motion, Steele submitted the supplemental filing urging the state to incorporate State v. Baker in its analysis of the issue. So, looks like every single thing in Fulton County is going straight to Hades in a handbasket. uh, Crazy news from the Royals. I don't understand AI stuff, but apparently this is a big scandal. Kate Middleton's family photo recalled by picture agencies over fear it has been digitally manipulated. A picture is worth 1,000 words, except when it's recalled. Multiple photo agencies, including Reuters, Associated Press, Getty, and AFP, have withdrawn the Mother's Day photo Kensington Palace recently released Sunday, picturing Kate Middleton and her three children, over fears it has been digitally, quote unquote, manipulated. A kill notification reportedly released by AP reads, quote, at closer inspection, it appears that the source has manipulated the image. I don't know how we know this, but I mean, look, these are things I would never ever even notice, but okay. I mean, I guess it has been, but I would never notice, to be fair. Sources told the Mirror on Sunday that the photo agencies received the photograph, which was taken by Prince William of Middleton, Prince George 10, Princess Charlotte 8, and Prince Louis 5, has been altered from the original. Social media sleuths were quick to point out that some of Charlotte's arm appears to be missing. Middleton isn't wearing her wedding ring, and her arms appear to be extra long to be able to wrap around Charlotte and Louis. Quote, thank you for your kind wishes and continued support over the last 2 months, the photo's caption read, referring to the concern around around suspicions about Middleton's whereabouts, wishing everyone a happy Mother's Day, they wrote of the British holiday. I was like, "Oh, crap." Louis, sorry. I was like, "Oh, holy crap. Has Mother's Day already passed and I forgot it?" But I realized, no, this is British, stuff. The Post has contacted Kensington Palace for comment. Middleton continues to stay out of the public as she recovers from a planned abdominal surgery she underwent in January. She was photographed Monday in a car with her mother, Carol, but critics were skeptical about the legitimacy of the snapshot too. You know, I used to think, "Hey, that William's a handsome guy," but would I ever want people to have to, like, follow me and find out where I was and, notice what I, was wearing and doing at all times? Heck no. No, 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 no. I would rather be left alone, so you go ahead and have, Prince Williams. I'll stay relatively unknown. A woman has been arrested after breaking into an ex-boyfriend's house and dumping pickled pork on his couch. Now, I do believe this might be an update to a story Oh, no, this is a new one. Never mind, that was in Michigan. This apparently is a new one from Florida woman, if we can be so shocked. Good morning, Monty G. Not the pickled pork. A Florida woman allegedly went hog wild when she allegedly broke into her ex. I like the double allegedlys. Their law and crime double cover your ass. Into her ex-boyfriend's house and started destroying various items and dumping pickled pork all over his couch, cops said. I don't understand why they just didn't say hot links, because I'm like, pickled pork, what the hell is that? And then I just see the hot link sausages. I'm like, "Oh, well, that makes sense." It happened on a home on 25th Street about 8:15 PM, March 1st in Acres, Florida. A Lee County Sheriff's deputy responding to the break-in rolled up in his cruiser to see a man and woman arguing in the driveway. The deputy got out with his body cam rolling. A woman later identified as 22-year-old, oh, you've got to be kidding, Avika Nika Reddick chucked a 2-liter bottle of Sprite in the direction of her ex-boyfriend. The deputy asked what was going on. The boyfriend said, "Well, first of all, she broke into my house, sir." The "I did not break into your house," she fired back. Deputies said she'd used a hidden spare key to enter her ex-boyfriend's house without permission. She's like, "Not intentionally, and I had a key." She's like, "I learned from Sarah Boone." She proceeded to throw and break items around the house, deputies said. At some point, she allegedly took a jar of pickled pork, opened it, and dumped it on his couch. Riddick was arrested on charges of domestic uh, violence, battery, criminal mischief to property less than $200. That is not less than $200. Burglary of a dwelling. Deputies took her to Lee County Jail, where she has since posted the $7,250 bond. Her court date is scheduled for April 1st. The incident was featured last week on an episode of Live with LCSO. I need to write that down because we are going to have Judge Moon, figure this out. She is on top of this. I need a pen. This is I Live with LCSO, because I think Judge Moon would have some opinions. Judge Josephine would also have some opinions. Good lord, no. And look, I don't care whatever this dude did, you don't go in and ruin a couch. Come on now, that thing takes forever. Look, that just takes forever. In other news, a missing Florida mom found trapped inside a shipping container, say police. A Florida mother who was reported missing last week was found trapped inside a shipping container on Thursday, police said. Marlene Lopez, 52, was last seen Monday at her home on Lucerne Drive, according to a press release from the Cocoa Police Department. A coworker concerned about her well-being called police after Lopez failed to pick up her son. Detectives received known locations, investigated known locations, interviewed family members, and issued a missing person bulletin. During the investigation, detectives were notified that a woman had been found trapped in a shipping container next to a building at uh, 20 or 2005 North Cocoa Boulevard. Lopez had been banging on the shipping container door when someone heard her and unlocked the door. She said she didn't know how she ended up in the container. The circumstances are still under investigation. Um, it it would seem a little shady. I would kind of, I mean, granted, if y'all tell me that there are, clearance candles and books in the back of a storage container, I might be tempted. Like, I see a bunch of clearance candles and be like, "Heck yeah, I'm buying all the candles, Mr. Mo." I mean, that would be my story. And these people are just directly into the sun and no trial, but this is why I'm not a judge. A quartet engaged in a murder for hire plot because quote unquote vibrant 96-year-old woman was living too long, according to the sheriffs. I swear, y'all, I would be like Judge Dredd. It'd be bad. That's why I am not allowed to be a judge. Because I'd be like, no, Snake Island, ISO cubes. Cops in Santa Barbara, California arrested four people in a murder for hire plot that took the life of 96-year-old woman preparing to celebrate her upcoming birthday by baking cookies. Oh, hell no. These people are, nope, nope, directly to Snake Island. She was baking cookies for her birthday. She looks like the funnest grandma ever. No. Santa Barbara County Sheriff Bill Brown at a press conference Thursday described a case that was, quote, a tangled evil web of financial exploitation against the victim, end quote. Evelyn Alberts, her caregiver, called deputies to her upscale Montecito? Monticello. Is it Monticello or Montecito? On May 27th, 2022, deputies found her not alive in bed with ingredients for her birthday cookies on the kitchen table. A window in her home had been shattered, they said. Medical examiner later determined her cause of death to be asphyxiation. At first, detectives were befuddled as to who would want to kill Alberts, whom Brown described as a quote unquote cherished figure in her community. But investigators keyed in on 48-year-old Pauline uh, Masserino after they learned that in 2020 she, quote, orchestrated fraud, end quote, to obtain control of Albert's multi-million dollar home and assets, Brown said. According to Brown, Alberts had run out of money and someone referred Macarino to her for help. Macarino conducted a reverse mortgage scheme and also forged documents, Brown said. Macarino allegedly had hoped that Albert would die by natural means so she could take over the home. The problem? Albert's kept living. Quote, in the eyes of Pauline Macanero, Miss Alberts was living too long, end quote, said or Brown said. In other words, Miss Albert was 96 going on 97. I think the assumption was that she would probably die quickly, then she would have obtained her home by fraudulent means. So the acceleration of her death was presumably the motivation. This is terrible. All of you people directly in the sun. Authorities say that Macareno hired Henry Bastiaman, 58, and Harry Bastiaman and Henry Rosterman, 33, and Ricardo Martin Del Campo, 41, to carry out the unaliving. Detectives discovered that Martin Delacampo and Rostioman conducted a scouting trip a couple days before the unaliving, probably taking their phones and doing all of the, texting just to put their phones right there. Quote, this pivotal discovery shed light on the premeditated nature of the crime, underscoring the perpetrator's calculated efforts to survey Albert's home and plan their vicious and reprehensible actions. Brown said. Macareno has already been convicted and sentenced to 6 years in prison for fraud in Albert's case, but is now facing a solicitation to commit unaliving charge. The other three suspects have been arrested in the last 2 months and are charged with unaliving and conspiracy to commit unaliving. While in federal custody on an unrelated charge, Bastijamin suffered a medical emergency and is essentially brain dead. So I'm I'm struggling to pull up any sympathy, and y'all, I just can't. Brown said Alberts didn't have any family that lived nearby, but was beloved by others in the community. Despite her age, she remained active and engaged, and she was known for her warm demeanor and social nature, he said. The suspects have a court hearing scheduled for March 14th. These people are gross. Look, you already tried to reverse mortgage her house and steal it out from under her with a quick deed. You know, you're already in jail, ma'am. You are already in prison. Although I do like your eyebrows. But you are already in prison, ma'am, for trying to steal. Oh, yes, I do. I am trying to, I try to read chat, but I don't always get to it because I'm reading it. Y yeah, I mean, that should be a given if prisoners happen to pass away, they should be allowed, I think, to donate their organs. I understand how it could become a slippery slope. I don't want people encouraged, to by coercion, but I think it could be one of the final acts of good that people do if they so choose. Doo, doo, doo. No, I already did that one. In sad news, and I am not a big Dragon Ball Z person, but Dragon Ball creator, I'm gonna probably say this wrong, Akira Toriyama passed away at 68 from a reported acute subdural hematoma. In a moment that truly no fan ever really fathomed would come, famed Dragon Ball creator Akira Toriyama has passed to the outer world. The news of famed magnic okay, Magnum maker or passing was first broken on March 7th, courtesy of the official Dragon Ball website. Quote, "We are deeply saddened to inform you that manga creator Akira Toriyama passed away on March 1st due to an acute subdermal hematoma." Read the news update co-authored between Dragon Quest co-creators own Bird Studio and newly founded entity in charge of Dragon Ball IP, Capsule Corporation in Tokyo. It says, "Dear friends and partners, we are deeply saddened." Okay. It's our deep regret that he still had several works in the middle of creation with great enthusiasm. Also, he would have many more things to achieve. However, he has left manga titles, sorry, I can't say words, and works of art in this world. Thanks to the support of so many people around the world, he has been able to continue his creative activities for over 45 years. We hope that Akira Toriyama's unique world of creation continues to be loved by everyone for a long time to come. We inform you this sad news with gratefulness for your kindness during his lifetime. Funeral service was held with his family and very few relatives. Following his wishes for tranquility, we respectfully inform you that we would not accept flowers, condolence gifts, visitings, offerings, and others. We ask that you refrain from conducting interviews with his family. Future plan for commemorating or for a commemorative gathering is not decided. We will let you know when it's confirmed. We deeply thank you for your understanding and support as always. I believe that's a brain bleed, but sometimes it could happen if you get hurt. The only thing I know from subdermal hematomas is from court cases, and it's usually from a a traumatic injury, so that's the only reference I have to it, so I'm sure it could happen naturally, but that's the only, because I think they would have said an aneurysm or a stroke, so he might have had a fall? I don't know. Oh, okay, well, there you go. There you go. Thank you, Squid Pro Quo, and I'm so sorry you've had to deal with that. That is no fun, I can't imagine it is. See if there's anything else. Born in Nyoka, Aichi, Japan in 1955, Toriyama's interest in manga was first sparked, according to the author himself, by Osamu Tezuka's seminal Astro Boy. Although he would spend much of his childhood doodling away, his high school years would see his artistic ambitions take a back seat to his burgeoning social life. When it came time to graduate rather than go to college, Toriyama chose to enter the workforce, finding work as a poster designer for an advertising agency. The future manga superstar would eventually choose to leave his position after finding that ultimately the corporate life was not for him. However, a man cannot live on hopes and dreams alone, and Toriyama soon found himself in desperate need of cash in order to support himself. After a chance reading of Kodiash Kodansha Weekly Sojin magazine at a coffee shop, he decided to solve his money woes by entering into the magazine's then currently ongoing open submission contest. Unfortunately, he did not complete his submission in time for the deadline. But when one door closes, another opens. He soon thereafter discovered Weekly Sojin magazine's competitors, uh, and they held their own contests every month. Though his first submission to his eventual home magazine would be rejected for being a parody of Star Wars rather than an original work, after receiving encouragement to continue practicing from the editor who reviewed his work, none other than Kaishioto Torishima, look, I am butchering these names, would eventually serve as an editor on both Dr. Slump and Kid Goku years of Dragon Ball. Uh, look, so the Dragon Ball Z guy passed away, and I feel very sorry for all of the, fans. Um, Dragon Ball Z was never my jam. He's had a long and wonderful career, and, you know, he's done a lot of amazing work. So I am sorry for all of the fans. And I hope that, they continue to make really good work in line with what he would, you know, think is good. Authorities are trying to help a sperm whale beached off of Florida's Gulf Coast. I love it. I gotta You're be oh, you're a Dragon Ball Z fan. I didn't think you were a beached sperm whale, but I wanted to make sure. Authorities are seeking to assist a beached sperm whale stranded on a sandbar off of Florida's Gulf Coast on Sunday, but said conditions in the water are too dangerous for crews to safely approach and administer a sedative. Don't they have, like, tranquilizer harpoons or, like, distance tranquilizer methods? I mean, or is that all movies and Hollywood stuff? Because I get most of my, well, distance tranquilizer ideas from movies and James Bond. The Venice Police Department said in posts on Facebook that the whale was alive on Sunday afternoon after it had beached on a sandbar about 50 yards from Service Club Park. Due to high winds and surf, Florida fish and wildlife conservation biologists have determined that a response Monday with weather conditions more favorable would be their best option. As of Sunday evening, the whale was still alive but had labored breathing. A perimeter had been set up to allow authorities to assess the whale's condition at the site in Venice, about 75 miles south of Tampa. The Sarasota County Sheriff's Office and staff from the Moat Marine Laboratory were assisting, the Sheriff's Department said in an initial post. After an afternoon post by Venice Police said officials with Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission considered the water conditions still too dangerous to approach the whale, which was estimated to be in about 50 or to be about 50 feet long or 15 meters. A police Facebook post earlier Sunday said the whale was 70 feet long or 21 meters. Police said authorities would make another assessment of conditions at low tide on Sunday evening, but hopes of aiding the whale were dwindling. Unfortunately, it appears likely a recovery effort as nature takes its course. Police said they would be present at the beach throughout the night. So hopefully Monday, today's weather will be kinder and they can get in and, really get this whale out because I don't want, you know, the whale to be hurt. In a happier news, A Colorado dog missing for 10 days found trapped in snow just feet outside the home. A beloved family dog who had been missing for 10 days was recently found safe and sound, nestled among snowdrift and fallen trees just a short distance from her home in Colorado. On the morning of February 22nd, Pepper, a 6-year-old Burmese black lab mix, y'all, I almost got a Burmese dog. Can you and I thought Fry was too big. Fry is like, "Eyes under the bed, I am never coming out." He's decided to start hiding his toys under there like I don't know where they are. So anytime yesterday he counter surfed, an entire bag of bread, from when Mr. Mo went grocery shopping, and he's like, "I is sneaky, you will never be able to find it," and he goes straight to under my bed and, has to get down and, like, wiggle his little butt in to get and Mr. Mo's like, "Where is he hiding this stuff?" I'm like, "It's all under my bed." The family promptly contacted Summit Lost Pet Rescue. A few hours later, volunteers immediately sprang into action to help locate her. Quote, "We sent them our standard search protocols, put out a scent station on their front porch, owner's dirty clothes, and a dog bed, set up cameras, make social media posts to spread awareness, hung neon colored signs in the neighborhood and boots on the ground search," Melissa Davis, the search executive director, said on a Facebook post this week. Neighbors were also given flyers and asked to check their garages, decks, tree wells, and any other places where Pepper might be stuck. Quote, "The snow is very deep in Blue River with very high snowbanks," Davis said. "Since there were zero sightings of her, we assumed she was either stuck someplace nearby or got picked up and left Blue River." Family members and volunteers expanded their search to nearby trails. Davis said it was more likely that Pepper was stuck in the snow, so they spent a lot of time snowshoeing and searching in areas where she could be stuck. Quote, "We noticed many dog tracks that were circling the neighborhood near her house and no human prints nearby, so it could have been Pepper. We kept track of those prints as clues," Davis added. "Although she never showed up on our camera, we didn't know for sure." After the 10th day of searching, the Summit Lost Pet volunteer and his dog returned to the creek to continue their search for Pepper. "We often take our dogs on searches with us and use them as magnet dogs," Davis said. "When pets go missing, they often are afraid of other humans, but have better trust with other dogs." During this particular search, Pepper was found trapped in a narrow section of the creek surrounded by snowdrifts and fallen trees. Have a wonderful day. I hope that Oh, I am so sorry you got what a dingus. I hope your car gets fixed and the other person can go pound sand, allegedly, in Minecraft. Uh, a black dog under muddy black roots made it very hard for Kevin, the volunteer, to see her, but his dog Finn did, Davis said. Eventually, with Kevin saw her shiny tag on her collar. He immediately contacted the owner, who arrived with his son to help. Owners managed to use calming techniques and trek through the deep creek with snowshoes and poles to rescue her. It took 3 people to successfully retrieve her. Ultimately, she was stuck 714 feet from her house. Ugh, dinguses. Uh, if you were in California and you went to the hospital, about 300 people at a California hospital possibly exposed to measles after a child goes in for treatment. Now, most of us have had, the MMR, booster and all that, but if you haven't, you might want to consider. My dog would Fry, God love him. So we got him this weekend. I had a major flare. So Mr. Mo and the boys, like, it was a nice weather outside, so they got him a long lead so he could play outside in the backyard. Now, what does Fry proceed to do? He proceeds to wind it around every single daggone tree that we have, and then end up looking at the leash and Mr. Mo like they did it. So, of course, he did. But, we were trying to come up with ways that he could get a lot of exercise on days that I was having really bad days, and he likes playing around with the boys, so we were thinking having a place for him out in the backyard, to run around but still be on a lead would be great. Well, no, he just wound himself around every daggone tree ever, uh, which really has nothing to do with this story. Uh, let's see. A California medical facility is trying to contact about 300 people who were possibly exposed to measles after a child was treated for the contagious viral illness at a hospital in Sacramento last week, officials said. The child had returned from international travel and was evaluated March 5th at UC Davis's Health Emergency Department between 12 p.m. and 5 p.m. Pacific Time, Sacramento County officials said in a news release. The hospital said it had the situation under control, and it noted it began contacting about 300 in the facility who may have been exposed. It said, quote, there are no additional potential exposures at UC Davis Center beyond those people that have been identified and contacted. UC Davis has a record of each patient and employee in the emergency department that day, and notifications about potential exposure are being sent through phone calls, electronic medical records, online messaging portal, letters in person, and to care teams of patients who are admitted from the emergency department during the time period, hospital officials said in the news release. Those who are unvaccinated against measles or those with unknown vaccinated statuses who were at UC Davis Medical Center's emergency department during the time are at risk for developing measles between 7 to 21 days after exposure. Good morning, Mimsy. Let's see. Sacramento County public health official said people who are at risk were asked to review their immunization records, contact a health provider, and monitor themselves for illness. Those who are at risk of exposure are being contacted by infection prevention, and care teams who are managing current inpatients are being advised of the need for proper infection prevention processes. The news uh, release read, the child was first seen at San Joaquin Urgent Care in El Dorado County, where there were, quote, a small number of residents who might have been among those exposed, officials said, and that was indicated in a separate news release. Well, this is awesome. You guys, measles is highly contagious and can lead to complications and turn deadly. Yeah, I look, and I am one of those moms that unless you are well, I was raised by one of those moms that were unless you were, like, on death's door, we did not go to the doctor because my mom, A, was a single mom and she'd have to take off time, and B, if it was just a cold or a flu, they were gonna tell you, "It's a cold and a flu, and here, have some Dimetapp." So, my mom was kind of the opinion that unless you were, severely ill, we didn't go, and I've kind of maintained that. I mean, if it's something that I am uncomfortable with, we go, but if it's just a cold or something, no, we do not go to the doctor because the doctor is just going to tell you, "Take some Tylenol, watch it, and give breathing treatments," and I got better things to do than wait an hour and a half in a little, you know, cubicle with my sick kid who's saying this is boring. No offense to doctors. You have a great you do good things sometimes, but ain't nobody got time for that. Our last story, isn't fun, but I did wanna give this boy some attention because, it is said that he protected his sisters, and I really wanted to give him some attention. Quote, "He was a protector all the way until the very end." So it's not a happy story, but I thought that he deserved recognition for being brave and a hero. Boy 12, who was unalived by mom's ex boyfriend, hailed a hero for protecting his sisters, sheriff said. A 12-year-old boy who was allegedly shot and unalived by mother's ex boyfriend is being hailed as a hero for protecting his family. Cops in Harris County, Texas, are searching for the suspect, 27-year-old Terry Brian Riviera. Um, that's okay. You can just give him to us. We'll make sure he's taken care of. Allegedly in Minecraft. After obtaining a capital murder warrant in the March 4th death of Carlos Fernandez, on Sunday, deputies arrested Riviera's 51-year-old mother, Alva Cornjeo, for hindering apprehension or prosecution, Harris County Sheriff's uh, Ed Gonzalez said. Deputies responded around 3 a.m. March 4th to a shooting in an apartment on Anderson near Woodforest and Uvalde in Cloverleaf. They found Carlos shot in the apartment where paramedics pronounced him dead. Riviera allegedly fled in a gray pickup that has since been recovered. According to the probable cause arrest affidavit, Carlos's mother, Ashley Ristoro, told detectives she was sleeping with her boyfriend when she heard someone open a window and a voice she recognized as Riviera's said, quote, "Yeah, what's up," before he started shooting. Gonzalez said Carlos heard the yelling and went to investigate and was struck by the gunfire. Carlos suffered gunshot wounds in the arm and torso. Quote, "When he heard the commotion, he could have hidden. He could have ran to his mom. Instead, he ran to the danger. He ran to go check on his sisters," Gonzalez said at a press conference Friday. What an absolute douche canoe. And I just Snake Island with all the rats connected to no, Snake Island is too good. We're gonna put you in an ISO cube with Daryl Brooks and no headphones. Carlos's uncle, Delfino Gonzalez, described his nephew as, quote, "the life of the family who was always positive." Quote, "He was a protector all the way until the very end. He always protected, whether it was his cousins, his sister, his mom, he always put everyone else in front of him," said Delfino Gonzalez, who, along with other family members, wore a t-shirt with his nephew's picture on it that said "Justice for Carlos." Sheriff Gonzalez said deputies were previously called to the apartment for a disturbance involving Riviera about 3 days before the unaliving. Riviera had allegedly pointed a force multiplier at a vehicle and threatened to hole it up and assaulted Rosarto before leaving. Detectives say Riviera, quote, "forced his way inside the apartment and stole her force multiplier, which had previously been confiscated by the police in December 2023 from Riviera, but returned to her." But Gonzalez said prosecutors told the deputies there was not enough to support an arrest warrant. So he went in there, he, in another incident, strong armed his way into the apartment, took her, force multiplier, and the prosecutors were like, "Well, look, there's not enough evidence." And then she let him back into the daggone apartment. You know what? I feel badly for this mother, she's lost a child, but she also let the one person who's caused all the shenanigans back into the apartment. Ugh. Risorto told ABC affiliate KTRK that she begged the sheriff's office to press charges on Riviera. She had no doubt who fired the fatal shots. Quote, "Just the sound of the window going up, I automatically knew who it was." Okay, wait, maybe he broke into the apartment. Okay, my bad, ma'am. I am very sorry. I am very bad. My bad. So he was trying to break into the apartment with the force multiplier that he stole. Okay. I'm about ready to this man, Daryl Brooks, for the rest of his life. No filter. "Just the sound of the window going up, I automatically knew who it was," she told the outlet. Gonzalez says it's a tragedy anytime a child is murdered. Quote, "As a father myself, my heart breaks. We shouldn't be burying our children. That morning, Carlos should have been waking up like any other mornings, going to school, continuing to learn. It's not only a loss to the family, but a loss to our community. We lose the promise of a young mind, a young child that could have been something great." So, if anyone knows anything about this, call Houston Crime Stoppers. But what an incredible, brave boy to when he knew his mom's boyfriend was probably breaking in, he ran to protect not only his mom, but his siblings. And what a human sack of crap this guy is. Anywho, that is the end, but what a brave little boy, and I hope they catch this guy, and he done this in Texas. Anywho, I will be coming back this evening. I am sending you all to Baker's. And I should be on Megan Fox a little bit today. I am going to go and, switch into Lynette mode. So, I should be on with Megan Fox today as Lynette. Well, Lie Better Net for legal purposes. So, we can have, uh, some fun with this incredibly weird woman. I could not find turtle earrings. I was looking at for turtle earrings, but I guess I will have to buy some, but I have the wig ready. I even grayed the roots. Shenanigans on the horizon. I will see you guys in a little bit. Have a wonderful day. Say something nice to yourself, say something nice to others, and I will see you in a little bit. Bye, guys.